The Lieutenant Call. Gonzales SSP Council Delegation Briefings Part 2. Super Federation Conference, Blue Avian Meeting and SSP Alliance Council Events. The world we live in is far more remarkable than most people could ever have imagined. Our military-industrial complex has secretly colonized our solar system, and beyond. The technology that already exists, today, built by defense contractors who hold corporate facilities here on Earth, satisfies every wish you've ever had for a high-tech future, from any sci-fi movie you could possibly think of. I know this is true because I worked in this world. I lived in this world. I walked away from it in 1989, except for a few stray assignments, but that all changed when I decided to come forward as a whistleblower in 2014. An alliance has formed within what we call the Secret Space Program, or SSP. The goal of the alliance is to defeat the Babylonian money magic system and end financial tyranny on Earth. The alliance wants to restore order and justice and civility to our world, and release the planet-healing, life-extending, hyper-futuristic technology they possess to everyone. All the bases and colonies they have constructed will be made available to us if this plan is a success. And traveling to them will be just one portal hop or shuttle ride away. My main contact in this world has been Lieutenant Call. Gonzales. The experiences he and I have been having seem very far out to most people, and have led to inevitable skepticism. If you are new to this story, it may all seem quite impossible to believe. I understand that. My job is simply to tell you the truth of my ongoing experiences. This article is a follow-up to Part 1, where we discussed some of the information that Lieutenant Call. Gonzales had briefed me on in two separate meetings he had not far from where I live. We discussed Gonzales' dramatic meeting with the Draco White Royal, and his interaction with 4 of the chairmen of the Committee of 200 when he stood in as the main delegate for the sphere beings that are helping us out. We are going to rejoin those two conversations and pick up where we left off to discuss the other meetings that Gonzales attended in my absence. This all took place while I was off shooting the gay IMTV show Cosmic Disclosure with David Wilcock. If you have not completed Part 1 of this article, I would recommend doing so before reading Part 2. It definitely appears that writing these articles and doing this new show has also increased the amount of negative greetings, as DW calls them, based on terminology from the Law of One series, I have received recently. I am not a huge believer in coincidence. The number of negative things that have occurred to my family and myself since I was briefed by Gonzales, started writing updates and working on these articles is incredible. These negative incidents have been so in your face and clearly intentional that it is more than obvious that this is a yin and yang sort of energy battle for balance occurring. The latest event of this type was yesterday morning. I woke up and had been bitten by a spider that left a large bite on my hip, at the belt line. I had to have it treated, as it was swollen up like a balloon. I was getting muscle aches, headaches and stomach issues. All I felt like doing was laying around. I managed to get out for a little while to find a peaceful place to work on finishing up this article and beginning the next one. I also discovered that some people I considered friends had contacted bloggers who are known to attack me. They provided untrue and negatively toned information about David Wilcock and myself. They were upset that they couldn't get a hold of me through any of my older contact methods for almost 2 months. However, they never even tried to contact me through my webpage. When asked about it, they just rationalized their behavior and were unapologetic. It has been upsetting to see how quickly people you think are your friends and claim to be on the path of service to others and spiritual enlightenment in this field can turn against you, in such emotionally triggered, reactionary or egotistical ways. The balance appeared within 5 days, when 4 of the people who have made a mission out of attacking me in online posts and email campaigns to researchers got in contact with me, and apologized. I apologized for anything I may have done to upset them, given how distracting and bizarre all of this has been for me. I told each of them I would be a hypocrite if I didn't forgive them. In turn, a couple of them sent me quite a lot of information that lined up with information and transcripts I had received directly from other sources. At the time I wasn't entirely sure if it was all true, but that doubt has now been removed. Two of people have now sent me quite a number of Skype logs and email conversations among a small but dedicated cell of bloggers, forum moderators, former friends and once well-known researchers who have been conspiring to bring down David Wilcock and myself. Gonzales had told me that this was going on, but the scope of it, and the amount of spite, unethical behavior and outright hatred in how they spoke about us and conspired with each other, has been truly shocking. One of the people in question is talented at audio remixing. He has produced edited and fake Skype conversations to make David and myself appear to have a said or written certain to each other and to the person doing the cutting and splicing. David and I both keep local copies of all his Skype calls and text.log files for our own protection, in case of events just like this. It will be very interesting to identify exactly how this was done, and which questions were deliberately planted to generate useful audio clips in response. Having this handful of people contact me and make amends has been a nice balance to the yin and yang of the negativity that has been going on, not so secretly, in the background. Forgiving and loving those who you have wronged, or who have wronged you, can be very liberating for both parties. One of the people said that since we have reached this point of forgiveness, they have slept better than they have in some time. It had the same stress-relieving and spiritual effect on me as well. Because of the nasty spider bite, I ended up going to bed at 5 p.m. Central Time and slept until 3:30 this morning. I decided to use the peace and quiet to make the final edits to this article and get it posted. I am also looking forward to listening to Dr. Michael Sala's interview on Coast to Coast last night, 7/12, with George Nuri. Next week I am going to be recording a couple of episodes as a guest on George Nuri's gay IM TV show, Beyond Belief. Since some have asked, subscribers do get access to the complete collection of over 6,000 unique titles and programs on gay IM TV. You do not need to pay as you go or take shows on as package deals. You get it all in the basic price. Back at the table with Gonzales, as we sat at the table and started up the discussion, much of the briefing included quite mundane information as well as some deeper information. This included what was going on with the various loosely affiliated factions of the Earth Alliance. I was made aware of recent cabal false flag attempts that thankfully did not succeed, though others obviously have. We also discussed mass intelligence gathering that has been both acquired by Earth Alliance groups as well as SSP Alliance Council efforts. This was accomplished by hitting secure Western databases, and the results were very visible in the news headlines. I also found out that some rogue members of BRICS have been infiltrated by the secret Earth government syndicates, known to most as the Cabal. Gonzales and I also discussed his recent stand-in delegate role at the Human-like ET Superfederation Conference. The Superfederation is a larger group made up of a United Nations-type organization of other human-like ET federations, confederations and councils. These are not the Draco Federation alliance groups, and the other beings associated with them that have been referred to the Orion Group by many. This Orion Group is made up of quite a bit more than just the Draco Alliance. I did learn that there is a small council made up of some of the ancient human breakaway groups that I was previously unaware of. It turns out that Gonzales has been meeting exclusively with this group as a delegate for the SSP Alliance Council. Gonzales stated that I may be either accompanying or handling some of these meetings myself in the future. I do find it important to remind people that many of these are Earth-human terms to describe these groups, and not what they refer to themselves as. I will give what details I can of the two briefings we had in order. At our second meeting, Gonzales was more interested in mending fences and doing some e-readings to feel me out after the recent meeting I had with the SSP Alliance Council. This was the meeting that went very badly, and resulted in a major falling out between myself and some of the individuals present. We have discussed that thoroughly on more than one occasion since it first happened. Once that topic was covered, I asked some questions about the previous briefing that he had given me. I was looking for more detail since he was in a laid-back and talkative mood. Gonzales did not disappoint in this regard, because he went straight into talking about the Draco White Royal and chairman of the Committee of 200 meeting that I reported on in Part 1. After we were finished talking about the subject, we sort of backed away from topics to relax a little more. It was very unpleasant for Gonzales to recount the meeting with the White Royal, and it was difficult for me to listen to and relive my own experience. Gonzales asked me if I minded if he ordered a beer. I'd never seen him do that, as he was usually all business, either drinking coffee or iced water when we have met. I did not object, and indeed thought it may relax him more for the rest of the discussion. We had some small talk while we both finished a beer. Then he asked me if I have been watching the latest propaganda on television. I knew he was referring to the MSM news. I told him I try my best not to watch it. This is when he mentioned what was going on with a few EU countries financially, and the recent round of high-level government hacks that have occurred, not just to US databases, but to the entire Western world. Gonzales stated that these hacks were incredibly pervasive, and that they had also hacked the secret Earth government and syndicates darknet. Gonzales said that very little of what was taken has been reported in the MSM. Nonetheless, a stunning amount of intelligence was obtained and compiled into the database we had so far that has been contributed to by several parties. The information that was accessed, however, is well known by the upper caste of what most people know as the cabal groups. They are heavily panicking about these breaches of sensitive data. There have also been recent defections of cabal members who have brought evidence and the promise to testify to the SSP and elements of the Earth alliances. These defections and the recent hacks are behind the pickup in activity of elites moving their families to their safe zones. There were also some recent hacks to obtain further information from one of the major letters from the BRICS alliance. Unfortunately, this particular country has been heavily infiltrated by the cabal. The cabal has infiltrated just about everything you can think of. The ufology field has been completely infiltrated consistently since the 1950s. Internet forums, blogs and some alt media have the same problems. To read the remainder of this article, please go to spherebeingalliance.com. A link is in the description.